Let me explain why. You look at the teams from the Western Conference that were great last season. That were, in the top teams in the West. You have Oklahoma City at number 1. They lost Kevin Martin. We'll see what happens. I don't know. We'll see if trading James Harden become an issue now. Because honestly, I think so, because they do not have a spark plug off the bench that can get them those points. I mean, Kevin Martin was a good player, but Harden was a great player. And it's going to be tough. And I mean, coming up with Westbrook coming off his injury, I don't know how he's going to do this year. I think he should be fine. But a lot of questions in Oklahoma City. I think they might be on the down. And San Antonio, I mean, don't get me wrong, they got to the NBA Finals. They were 5 seconds away from winning their 5th NBA championship. But they're getting older. Manu Ginobili pretty much disappeared through most of the entire NBA Finals. You have an older Tim Duncan. You have Tony Parker. I mean, he's a great player, but again, he's played for a long time. He's already in the, I think, 12th season in the league at 30. You have Denver, new head coach Brian Shaw, and you lost Andre Iguodala. So I don't know. Andre Iguodala was the energy guy. I mean, don't get me wrong, they have really good players, but it should be interesting how that turns out. You have the Clippers, who are a question mark because of. I mean, don't get me wrong, they signed Chris Paul, they got Doc Rivers. And they got a couple good players in Jared Dudley and J.J. Redick. So we'll see. I mean, they look like they're doing well. They're going to be better. But, again, they're the Clippers. You have Memphis, who got to the Western Conference Finals last year. But they have a lot of issues at point guard. Golden State, they look like they're getting better. They got Andre Iguodala. And then you have the Lakers. So, with Howard going to the Houston Rockets, where does that leave big man Omer Asik? Omer Asik was the center for the Houston Rockets last year. He started all 82 games, averaging 10 points, almost 12 rebounds, and a little over 1 block a game. Now, this is going to be interesting just because Omer Asik has already asked for a trade. The moment Dwight Howard informed the Rockets that he was going to sign, he already asked for a trade. I mean, I get it. Asik came from Chicago on, I think, a 4-year deal, a good amount of money. But personally, I think he should stay for 1 season. Here's why. Imagine how dominant the Rockets could be if they have Asik and they have Dwight Howard. I'm not saying that, if they trade Asik and Jeremy Lin for another player, like Dwight Howard is reportedly asked, back and forth with the Rockets, seeing if they can get their own big 3. But Asik is a really good center. He's a good rebounder. His offensive game has some improvement, and he needs to improve in that area. But if he improves in that area, again, he's a very good player down low. And it's funny because Kevin McHale played in the 80s, and when it was tough for them because the Rockets used Akeem Olajuwon and Ralph Sampson, who were 2 of the best bigs of all time. It could be very interesting using Dwight Howard and Omer Asik on the floor, but Asik is already asking for a trade. So I don't know if the Rockets have already said no, but let's be honest, that's what they are supposed to say. Every team in the NBA is always actively looking for trades to make themselves better. That's fact. But they're not going to tell you that. Because if they do, then, the media is going to blow it up, and then, it's going to create tension in the locker room. It's true. Kevin McHale commented on the Dwight Howard signing, hey, we can compete with anybody, and I mean anybody. McHale said when pairing Howard and superstar James Harden next season, he said, we'll see. Let's get everybody together. I'm looking forward to getting together with the team and putting everything together. I feel really comfortable. We can compete with anybody. I mean, the Rockets have good shooters. This is almost like a better Orlando team, except they also have another superstar behind him. behind Dwight Howard. They have James Harden, who can score when Howard can't. And you have a bunch of shooters. I mean, you have point guard Patrick Beverley, who was a revelation throughout the playoffs. Again, you have James Harden, who scores about 20, 25 points a game on any given night. Go up to 50 if he wants to. You have Jeremy Lin, who's a solid point guard. He's a good player. And then you just have Chandler Parsons, who's a good wing player. I mean, you really have a good team surrounding him. Do I think that they can win in the West? Maybe if they add another player or two. It's going to be tough considering the contracts they're going to have on the books for next season, which is why I'm sure the Rockets GM is looking for trades to get rid of Jeremy Lin's contract and Omer Asik's contract. I mean, it's going to be tough, but there's a market. There's a market for players like these. So, I mean, again, don't get me wrong. It should be very, very interesting for the Rockets. Now, for the Lakers, what does this mean? I don't know. I mean, there's a lot of questions. You have Kobe Bryant that's going to be out for most of next season, coming off the torn knee. You have an old Steve Nash, old Metta World Peace. I think he might be gone too. You have Pau Gasol. I mean, Pau Gasol's a good player. He's not a great player. He was made a great player when he came to the Lakers from Memphis a couple years ago. It's mostly an aging roster and young talent. I mean, when you have when your number 2 player for next season might be Jody Meeks, that's saying something. Is this a step back for the Lakers? Probably not. I mean, just for this season, absolutely, because they don't have that guy in the middle that can dominate the paint. I mean, Dwight Howard had 18 points and 12 rebounds a game while he was injured all last season. Give him a full healthy season, man, this guy could be a 30 and 20 guy for the whole season. Astronomical numbers. Now, it's going to be tough. Kobe wants another ring. He said he can play for 3 years. Will he get it in that window? It's going to be tough. They're going to need a point guard. I mean, when it comes to the West, every team has a great point guard. Oklahoma City, you have Russell Westbrook. San Antonio, you have Tony Parker. In Denver, you have Ty Lawson. The Clippers, Chris Paul. Memphis, you have Mike Conley. Golden State, you have Steph Curry, Klay Thompson. I'm just saying, they cannot defend the point guard position. When you have Steve Nash defending, and don't get me wrong, he's a poor defender. That's just fact. He's a poor defender. I don't know. I don't know how they're going to get through the Western Conference at all. I don't know if they're going to make the playoffs. Now, it'll be interesting just because they're going to have a lot of cap room next summer when a lot of free agents are going to be on the market, headlined by LeBron James, but I highly doubt he's going to LA. I don't know. It should be very interesting to watch, simply because, again, the Lakers are the Lakers. They're always a team that's in contention for the playoffs. I think in the last 36 years, they've only missed the playoffs once, if I'm correct. That's consistency. They're a team that's always in the mix, regardless of their talent. But I don't know about this year. It is going to be tough. It is going to be really, really tough. So, I don't know. I really don't know what the Lakers are going to do. I mean, is it possible they can get Andrew Bynum back? I mean, it is. He's on the market. Will he sign with LA? I don't know. He's looking to go to the Mavericks. I mean, the Mavericks are looking at it from a careful point of view just because Bynum said he's not going to work out for teams. He's just going to show them their MRI. I wouldn't trust it. I wouldn't give him more than a year deal. Bynum has been injured throughout his whole career. So, maybe I think, my opinion, the Lakers should just not go to the playoffs. They should, I guess, quote unquote, tank. Although they won't admit it, because, I mean, then they'll be in the lottery for what could be a really good draft next year. Headlined by Andrew Wiggins, Jabari Parker. 2 franchise-changing guys. Probably the best draft since 2003. Just some food for thought. Other notable free agent signings. Man, they're looking better and better on paper. The Cleveland Cavaliers have signed Jarrett Jack on a 4-year deal that could be worth as much as $25 million. Again, I think it's a great deal for the Cavs. If they want to get LeBron James back next year, which everyone's been talking about since I guess throughout the NBA Finals, even when they won it. I mean, Dwayne Wade is dwindling. We know that. Chris Bosh isn't the great player that many of us thought. He's not a max player. I don't think so. The Cavs are surrounding themselves with talent. Kyrie Irving, franchise player. Again, they have a lot of good players around them. But we'll see. We will see. I mean, Kyrie Irving, Dion Waiters. It's a good team. Anderson Varejao. They're a good team. Now, if you get a LeBron, it'll be a great team. They'll be a team that gets the finals. They'll be a really good team in the East. I'll tell you that. Just saying. Other notable free agent signings: Carl Landry. Wow, to the Kings, 4 years, $27 million. It's all about the money. It is all about the money. Sometimes, if you can't get on a championship team, it's all about the money. It's how much you can make in your short career. These players are what? Playing 5-10 years tops? That's a stretch for most players. Most players bomb out of the league after what? A year? 2? 3 if they're lucky? So yeah, why not? Darrell Wright going to the Trailblazers. Ooh, that's a good signing. Again, he'll add some depth at the 3 spot. So I think it's a good signing. The Clippers are re-signing Ryan Hollins for another season. Zaza Pachulia to the Bucks. Now, here are some free agent signings that kind of just boggle me. There's some that are great. There's some that are great that add some depth and add some energy to the teams, and others that just confuse me. The first one that confuses me, Josh Smith to the Pistons. 4 years, $56 million. Really? Pistons. You haven't been good since your title runs and your Eastern Conference Finals a couple years ago. You have decent talent. I'm not sure Josh Smith is the guy that puts you over the top. He's a dynamic player. He's super athletic. But $56 million over 4 years? I don't know if he's worth that much. Maybe $10 million a year, tops. Will the Celtics. Will the Pistons get to the playoffs with Josh Smith? I don't know. I don't think so. There's been issues about his character and his leadership abilities. I don't know. I just don't think Josh Smith is the guy. Don't get me wrong. He's a good player. He can sometimes be a really good player. Is he worth that much money over 4 years? I don't know. No. Not at all. Not a chance. Another one that scratches my head, Tyreke Evans to the Pelicans. Oh, man, that's a huge deal. I think it was 4 years, between $44 and $48 million. He's a good player. He's a good player for the Pelicans, but they're gonna have a lot of players in the backcourt. I mean, you have Grievous Vasquez, and just you have a lot of. Again, I don't know if this is a good deal, really. It's tough. It is going to be really tough. I mean, it seems that the Pelicans are going for it right now. It seems that way. I don't know. I mean, again, they're surrounding themselves with some pretty good talent. Are they a playoff team? Maybe. It just depends on how all that talent meshes together with the young coach and the young roster. Will they be athletic? Will they be dynamic? Interesting to watch, yes. A team that can contend in the West? Far from that. Far from that. All right, good deal or bad deal? Thiago Splitter to the Spurs